see. Now, as I already mentioned, last Saturday the people of Iceland voted overwhelmingly, massively. It was a massive repudiation of the bankers' dictatorship, which is essentially the predominant form of government in the Western world, in the U.S., Europe, and Japan. But here we have Iceland, population 1/1000th of the U.S., 330,000 people on this island at the top of the North Atlantic, and they say nay to the bankers. Now, we want to go back to our correspondent there in Reykjavik, Þórarinn Einarsson, and see what's happening now in the aftermath. But before that, Þórarinn, can you give us a kind of a first-person account of what it was like on Saturday, Sunday, when the voting was going on and when the results came in, and some color commentary on the ground, so to speak?
Well, it was kind of a bit surprising that the no was over 90 or about 93%, more than we saw in the poll. So, of course, people were very happy about it. But, during the day, people were in a good mood. They were marching down the street and having a protest. And in the night, we just saw good results. It turned out that the people who were going to say yes, they rather, stayed at home instead of voting. So that is maybe the explanation. We only got, less than 2% saying yes, but there were actually people who actually did.
So, Lauren, what was the turnout? What was the percentage of those who voted compared to those who didn't vote?
Yeah, it was 63% that showed up. So
that's more than you get on anything here in the U.S.
Yeah, I guess it's perhaps common ratio in Europe, in European referendum. It's of course less than in usual parliamentary elections, but of course many people got the message from the Prime Minister and Finance Minister not to vote and just stay at home, like they did. The Finance Minister and Prime Minister, they declared they would not participate. They would stay at home.
Well, now in the wake of it, what has emerged? In other words, we know that Jóhanna Sigurðardóttir, the Prime Minister, the Social Democrat, the Eurocrat, she wants to come back and try again. She wants to find a way to pay. What is she up to?
Yes, of course. She is still in that mode, but I think the people of Iceland are really changing the course. That there was a poll recently that said that 60% of Icelanders just absolutely don't want to, or don't think it's right that Icelanders pay anything. And right. But of course, Jóhanna is still, going the way to Europe, to the EU, and she just wants to comply, like the government in general. So they will do anything. But I feel now that there is a different atmosphere on the way. That, for example, I just had a meeting last night where people are thinking to organize a conference in a group to change the constitution, on their own, to have, great meetings where people come together and actually change the constitution by themselves and then get it changed that way from their own effort. And I think that this kind of thinking is getting more apparent now.
So, Rauren, let me warn against this, because reforms of the government process, formal reforms of government, are generally a diversion from the real issues at hand. In other words, if you're going to spend time organizing, I would strongly recommend get out there with a program that says make the bankers pay. We won't pay as number one. Make the bankers pay Tobin tax, 1% tax on banking turnover, derivatives, stocks, bonds, and all the rest of this stuff. make the bankers pay for the crisis, and then join, now that we have the Greece crisis going on, join in the European effort to say ban credit default swaps. So certain kinds of derivatives can be taxed and you get money for the public treasury. But other than that, credit default swaps, these so-called insurance policies, they have to be banned, outlawed outright. And we just heard that even Barroso at the European Commission, Merkel, Sarkozy, and others, they're all demanding an end to credit default swaps. Now, that would be concrete, right? Rather than say we're going to change the Constitution, which takes forever and ultimately it's not going to work.
Yeah, but the thing is that what is good about it is that it really motivates people, and it's a part of the process that people are feeling that not only that they have the power, but they have to sort of use it and take it in their own hands. It is something to be a part of, and it will be important. But also these what you suggested has been we have the attack here in Iceland promoting these kind of ideas.
Who is that again? Who?
Huh?
Who promotes them?
No, I mean we have the organization Attack in Iceland.
What is it? Tell us.
No, I mean the Attack is a international group that is promoting, for example, the Tobin tax and re-regulating the financial system, and I think it's a pretty big group here in Iceland that is has founded the Icelandic Attack Group, and it recently went to Norway, and they had actually a meeting with the Norwegian government, which, by the way, now is changing their position on the ISAFE, that they are willing to give loans disregarding the outcome of the ISAFE dispute, and that's a big change from before.
I'm just recommending what you need now is a direct attack on the bankers. In other words, not the reform of government so much, but the attack on the bankers, so that you're actually essentially waging a class struggle against the bankers. Mobilizing people to fight bankers is the main demand of the hour. And changing.
Actually, I should say that we have made this kind of attack, that there is now people on, you could say it was a pay strike, people who have stopped paying their debts, and as a group, it's a group action, and also people are encouraged to take out their money from the specific banks, the big banks, and get it to smaller banks or safer banks. And this actually started last February 19th, and this could also grow momentum, this kind of action.
Let me point out, though, that what you need is a mass movement, that is something which brings people together in an organized form, not something that you do alone, not something of isolated people moving bank accounts from one bank to another. This is, frankly, not very radical. This is at the level of Arianna Huffington and the Huffington Post. But something where you say, bankers, I'm going to strike at you directly. I'm going to do something against you.
Yep.
Collectively.
Sorry, I had some problem here with the kids.
We understand perfectly. Thank you, Thorarin. Hang in there.
Okay.
You come back.
Oh.
Anyway, I'm recommending that what you need to do is find organized forms of resistance against bankers. Thank you, Thorarin. We'll see you next week.